school with my man Retro. Like, subscribe, comment, share, copy the link, put it on Instagram in your bio, put it on your Facebook page. Send it to your mama, text it to somebody. But y'all make sure y'all follow this page, Retro Philosophy.
Yo, what's up, everybody, including Lottie Dottie? You already know what it is. It's your boy Retro with you on this morning. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it, no matter how difficult, no matter how challenging, no matter how daunting, no matter how, I don't know, you guys throwing some other descriptive words there. But irregardless as to what the day looks like, we must make a choice to rejoice. Okay? That's a choice that's solely up to us and on us, and so decide wisely, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm simply trying to say. Good. Well, it's afternoon now. Good afternoon, everybody, including Lottie Dottie. It's a beautiful day here in the Carolinas. We are looking at 88 already. It's going to rise a few more degrees, and then that'll probably do it for us for today in terms of the temperature. Bada boom, bada bang. Hey. Okay. So what are we talking about today? I've got about maybe 30, 40 minutes to chit chat. If you can hear me, somebody say what's up in the comment section. Let me know that you can hear me. And I've got a hair in my mouth, and that's just the worst. So what happens when you don't curl your mustache? So, ladies and gentlemen, how are you guys doing today? I want to talk about the recovery. Is that okay? Can we talk about the recovery? I see a few of you guys on. Let me know if you guys can hear me good. Sometimes this thing wants to connect to the motorcycle's Bluetooth, and in order for this to work, and if anybody else is watching and your moto vlog, share with us or inbox me. How do you do it, and what do you use? I know a lot of guys will moto vlog, but they will just capture the content and then they'll go back and edit it. Of course, as you see, I always do mine live. I mean, just because it's the way I've always done it, and and it's there's more ways to capture audio and video to re-edit than it is to capture it for live content. So sometimes I'm somewhat limited, not only with the way to capture it, but the quality in which it's captured. But I think that this will suffice. The recovery, ladies and gentlemen. One thing about me and one thing about the Retro Philosophy Show is we do encourage, uplift, edify, strengthen, simply build up the people who are in. Okay. Now, if I was covering raunchy content, we probably have a little bit more likes and a little bit more views and so on and so forth. But it is what it is. So we try to offer something that's encouraging. And so with that said and done, I want to talk about the recovery and focus, looking at, contemplating, considering that I learned recently, found out that I didn't even know he had passed away, and but I knew this guy from way back in the day when I used to do things that, of course, we no longer do. But nevertheless, he taught me a very lesson. But I never forget time about his energy. Point that we want to illuminate. So let's just say, for instance, I lost $5. Okay, $5 that I lost. I'm spending all this time retracing my tracks, where I went, where I went to $5. But what I did was I time, energy, and effort away from a chance to make trying to find $5. And so let bygones be bygones. We must let water underneath the bridge flow so that we can focus on the greater opportunities and the greater chance and the greater, that's in front of us. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to say that we should act like it never happened. Oh, it happened. Please don't forget that it happened. All right? Now, we are not going to forget that it happened. We are also not going to keep remembering it. That's a whole nother conversation. I have not forgotten, nor will I continue to remember. See, when I choose not to forget, I've stored that information properly and accordingly. Popo. And however, when I choose to continue to remember, I continue to relive it over and over again every single day. Ladies and gentlemen, does that make any sense? And if you are remembering a thing every day, then you are robbing yourself of opportunity to grow beyond what you keep remembering. Now, I won't forget it because it was a lesson learned from the whole scenario. Okay? And part of the recovery process is forgiving yourself. Now, check it out. You did X, Y, Z to me, but sometimes I will forgive you quicker than I forgive myself. We hold ourselves accountable, and we condemn ourselves. I can't believe I let so and so do such and such. I can't believe I let so and so get over on me. You don't forgave them for what they did, but now you're still holding yourself prisoner. And nah, no bueno, amigo. We're not gonna do that over here. Okay. Look at here. We are all human beings, and we will all make mistakes sooner or later. You don't believe me? Just keep on breathing. Keep on living. You're going to make some mistakes. But when you make your mistakes, learn from the mistakes that you make, and they will no longer be mistakes. They will be learning experiences. So, the recovery, you got to see it for what it is, man. And if you messed up, then you messed up. You got to tell yourself you messed up. You know what I mean? You got to acknowledge the fact that you messed up. Acknowledging the fact that you messed up and continually condemning yourself for the mess up are not the same thing. Some people continue to do certain things because they never forgive themselves, which in turn allows you to grow beyond it. Yeah, you can be. Let me say it another way. I am not the mistake. Oh, I made some mistakes. And if you are walking behind me, keeping track of and tallying up all of my mistakes, you're not getting a clear picture of who I am. You might be getting documentation of what I've done and where I've been, but until you get to know me, you won't be able to see the growth that came out of what transpired. The psalmist said it this way. He said, "It is good for me that I was afflicted. It is currently good for me that I was, past tense, afflicted." So there's a lot of things that I did. It wasn't good at the time, but it worked for my good. Come on, man. You got to realize that sometimes your rejection is for your protection. And instead of moping over the fact that, oh, they rejected me, oh, they wouldn't let me in the cool kids club, oh, they wouldn't this, oh, look here, bro, look here, sis, get it together. Yeah, there were some groups and some circles and some people and some organizations and some movements that I wanted to be a part of. Yeah, yes, sir. Vernon, what's going on, brother? Bolo is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make some noise for this gentleman. Thank you for joining the conversation on today. I take it that audio is good enough. And so, Bolo and those that are watching, there were some people that I wanted to hang out with, that I wanted to be a part of, that I wanted to associate with, some places, some organizations, some groups. True story, real talk, no cap. But God said no for whatever reason. And sometimes He will tell us no without giving us explanation. Because sometimes He needs to know if we will trust Him before He offers us the explanation. I can't get no help up in this sanctified church. Ladies and gentlemen, the recovery and so many situations and circumstances is way more important than you can ever imagine. That's why sometimes the doctor will say, putting you on bed rest, and I want you to take it easy while you recover. I want you to take it easy. After 3 weeks, you can go back to work, but I'm placing you on light duty because the recovery is way more important than you imagine. If you rush the recovery, you will mess up your longevity. See, some of us think that we are healed, but all we did was got better. We got stronger, but we have not yet to be healed. So you got stronger, so now you know how to deal with these people now without throwing your cool, and because you're stronger now. See, anytime you do something, you're going to get stronger in that area, but just because you get stronger in that area doesn't mean you're healed in that area. I hope you guys are listening to me. Um, so the doctor will say you can go back to work after such and such amount of time, but I'm putting you on light duty. I need you to get back into the swing of things. See, the light duty is for your mental, so that mentally, you can start, getting yourself back in the swing of things. And then when you come off light duty, that's when you now begin to, deal with the physical aspect of it. I don't think y'all are hearing me. I think I'm preaching better than you praising. Meso Young is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make some noise for this gentleman here. He was coming through my area. Says, matter of fact, he sent me his glimpse. And I said, okay, that's what's up. And so we was trying to uh, choreograph that thing, and but we still managed to miss each other. But we're gonna catch him on the next go round. Maso, God bless you, brother. Thank you for joining the conversation on on this afternoon. All right, so we're back to work. So we're back in the swing of things, so we can get our mind wrapped around, getting back to work, and because see, sometimes when you're out of work, for whatever reason, you lose your what am I? How do I want to say this? They say if you don't use it, you'll lose it, and so you have a particular flow at work. You have a routine, you have a regiment, and you stick to it every single day, right? But after being out for a while, you get what we call you get rusty. You still remember what's got to be done, but you're not as effective because you haven't done it in a while. So you got to get back in the swing of things, and that's a part of the recovery process as well. Anyway, let me make my point and get out your way. We get stronger in areas, and so I can bear more for longer, but I'm still not healed. I'm still not healed. And and here's the problem. You look big and strong, and you're big and you are strong, but you're still contagious. And there's a good chance you might be contaminating others. Anytime someone is hurting, everything is affected by it. Every choice they make, I should say, every decision they make and every choice they choose, it's affected by their level of hurting. Okay, you explain things out of your hurt when you're hurting, and you recommend things or don't recommend things based on your level of hurting. And God doesn't want us to be strong, hurting people. He wants us to be healed, loving people. And when you are healed, you no longer hold the person who hurt you responsible. You no longer hold their heels to the fire. You may hold them accountable, and I'm okay with that. They ought to be held accountable. But even though we're holding them accountable, we're still praying for them. We have forgiven them. And let me tell you this: this is my own personal approach, my own personal understanding, and you may or may not get with this, or may not understand. Okay. Let's see what Meso says. I can't read it; it's too small. Um, Understanding is the seat of our healing. In other words, if you have no understanding, you don't have a basis for healing. You don't have a launch pad for healing. The Bible says, "With all thy getting, get understanding." And I am a firm believer that yes, sir. Here in Camden, New Jersey. Okay, going to Maxon, then to Hunger, South Carolina. Boy, Mesa, you on the road, bro. You out there moving, man. Yeah, the other day you was in South Carolina, Georgia, I think, and now you're up in the north, New Jersey. God bless you, man, and travel safe, man. May the hand of God rest on your life to keep you safe from danger, seen and unseen, uh, while you're out there in that big rig. But ladies and gentlemen, saints and saints, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, understand it. And see, sometimes we see the deed, and therefore we won't extract, or we won't accumulate, or we won't get the understanding that we need. Um, and when I say understanding, I understand why you did it, you know, but I don't understand why you did it. I know that doesn't make sense and it sounds like an oxymoron, um, but I understand that you did such and such to me because that's all you knew. Okay, you were lashing out or whatever the case may be, uh, but I may not understand what pushed you to that point. So when I talk about understanding, there's levels to the understanding. And I don't have to understand everything. I just have to understand that if I could use Mason, and this is just a mere, just an hypothetical, okay? Um, I understand what Meso did to me was out of frustration. Let me tell you this, guys. I think I may have mentioned this yesterday when I went live or whatever, but I'm gonna mention it again because I'm a redundant kind of guy. So I had a conversation very recently, and the individual who I was talking to was not at the actual event that we were speaking at, but they heard about it by someone who was there, and they spoke very well not only of the content of what we were speaking about, but the character in which we delivered. All right. So at one particular point, things got a little, you know, and so the individual says to me, "How do you and your wife handle situations like that so well?" I'm not gonna go into details. That's exactly what it was. Um, maybe at another date we might address it or whatever. But it had been a while anyway, so it's not really relevant. But anyway, what I said to her was, I don't take it personal because I understand how people can do such a thing. And so because I can understand, and as a result of understanding, I don't take it personal. In this situation, it didn't even hurt me to begin with. It hurts, but it didn't hurt me. And when I say it hurts, but it didn't hurt me, it didn't hurt me because I didn't take it personal, so it wasn't my hurt to absorb. It hurts in general as a whole, for we as a people, as a society. You see, that part hurts. That in 2025 we still have not taken heed to Rodney King's uh, famous words. Can't we all just get along? That's what Rodney King said when they pulled him over in his Honda and almost beat him to death. Can't we all just get along? Um, so the recovery, ladies and gentlemen, it will be expedited if we would learn to remove the personal aspect of the offense, the pain, the hurt, the confusion, the drama. Remove the personal, even though you might know them personally. Don't take it so personally. They say misery loves company. So if you know Maybird is miserable, then why are you gonna be all, get your panties in a bunch because of her behavior? That's what she always does. It doesn't make it right, but at least you understand this is who she is, and then you just keep it moving. People like that, who we often say, well, that's just how they are. I make sure that my exposure to them is minimal. Yeah, I make sure it's minimal because I know at any given moment they could do any given thing. And in this case, I'm going to use a phrase that I hate to hear people say. I'm going to protect my peace. A lot of people who say they're going to protect their peace are really just hiding from what they did. They throw their rock and hide their hand. Um, but when you know that somebody is messy and you don't do well with mess, minimize your time in their presence. Minimize the opportunity of you being caught in their crosshairs. That's all I'm simply trying to say. Because I got to focus on my recovery time. Because every wound leaves a scar. Oh, you might not see it, but every wound leaves a scar. There are some wounds that may not necessarily leave a physical scar, but they may leave a soft spot. I damaged my knees years ago, and I was a teen. And even though my knees are so much better than they once were, there's still a soft spot. Yeah, true story. And sometimes that soft spot is not as physical as it is mental. You know, I'm very protective when it comes to my knees because of the problems that I've had with my knees. And to this day, if I get up wrong or sit out wrong or the wrong pressure hits me the right way, my knee will literally pop out of socket. Sometimes I'll just be walking or just something simple, nothing extra, and it will pop out of joint. True story. And so I'm very protective of my knees because I know, you know, how they are. And so there are some things that we go through in life. We're healed and we're stronger, but we still have to protect those areas. Okay. Um, I'm saved and sanctified, Holy Ghost filled and fire baptized. Yeah, okay. There's still some things that I do my best to stay away from. You know, sometimes, hey, look, bro, look, sis, we don't do that over here. Blah blah blah, and they keep on going. You know what? I'm just going to remove myself from this whole equation because I've already told them once. I've told them twice. I don't want there to be a thrice because it won't be nice. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You told them once. You told them twice. You know what? Don't wait for the third time. Just remove yourself from the equation. Nah, you ain't gonna do that because I'm a man and I'm not gonna let nobody punk me. This ain't about being punked. This is about protecting what's valuable, protecting what's what needs to be protected. Yeah, and so the recovery is very important. Sometimes you've got to shut everybody out during your time of recovery because during your recovery time, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, you're vulnerable. You're very vulnerable, and if you got the wrong people there, they may mean well, but they got bad bedside manners. You know what I mean by that? You know, you don't come into the hospital room where there's a cancer patient and say, "How you doing?" They say, "Well, I'm doing as good as I could be." Well, my daddy died of cancer, and my mama. That's bad bedside manners. You could potentially sow seeds of fear and doubt that can derail the healing process because you don't have enough koof to yourself. You don't have enough understanding. You don't have enough wisdom. I don't know who I'm talking to, but let me just keep it moving. And so let me just make it personal. During my recovery times, everybody don't have access to me. Some phone calls you ought to just not answer. I love you, bro. I love you, sis, but nah. Mm-mm. I've got a friend right now. I've got to get in touch with. He's lost his father. I'm praying for him and the family. I reached out to him the other day. He didn't answer, and understandably so. The brother, no doubt, has. I know what it feels like, and I know he's got so much going on. He's processing so much. He's starting the process of. It's difficult, and sometimes you need to just turn the phone off. I know they mean well, and I know they want to call to encourage me. I know they want to call to let me know that they're praying for me, this, that, and the other. But I am too vulnerable right now, you know. And so sometimes you've got to just shut the phone off. I return the calls when I'm good and ready, when I feel strong enough, when I feel comfortable enough, when I'm healed. So the recovery process, ladies and gentlemen, take it serious and take as much time as you need so that way when you get back in your rightful seat, you can excel and you'll be extremely effective, and infective in a good way. Ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, it's your boy Retro. I have reached my destination and I've got to get in here and get some work done. And and then we're off to our next assignment. But I want to talk to you guys as I travel down the road. Again, it is a beautiful day here in the Carolinas, and I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to press play and hang out with your boy. Let's see, we're going to be in Elk Park, North Carolina later on this month for Revival on the Mountain, Fire on the Mountain Revival. And if you'd like to come and support us, let me know and I will get you the information, time, date, and all that stuff. And we also will be celebrating 17 years pastoral anniversary, church and pastoral anniversary later on this month on the 28th, I think it is. Yeah, the 28th, I believe it is. Check my timeline. I'll be posting that. So if you guys want to come and support it, we'd love for you guys to do that. Verna, it's so good to see you on the live, man. And again, I want to say thank you for pressing play. I will be in the Connecticut area in November. Um, I'll be in Massachusetts actually, but I'll be passing through the Connecticut area. So depending on which, I won't be on twos, but nevertheless, depending on what your schedule is like, man, it would be good to get together to fellowship. Um, but other than that, ladies and gentlemen, again, we want to thank you for pressing play. Again, we try to put out a little bit of content that would be encouraging to those that are watching and myself as well. So, with that said and done, man, I'm going to get out of here. God bless you. Oh, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, man, what you're waiting for, please do so. Also, go over to TikTok and follow us there. And whenever you see any of my content and you can appreciate it or at least can rock with what we said or saying, hit the like button, drop a comment. It runs up the algorithm, which you know what that does. It helps us out, okay? So with that said and done, now for real, I'm gonna go ahead and get out y'all's way. See y'all soon.